All right, welcome back to the channel. I'm Al, your host, and we're going to talk about my Premier League play of the day. And we got some good games taking place on Saturday, January 25th. The one that I like the most is going to be Bournemouth going up against Nottingham Forest. We got a matchup of two of the hottest teams in the Premier League going up against one another, battling it out for potentially a spot in Europe next year. So let's go ahead and get into it. Before we do that, as always, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. I'm going to try dropping these play of the day videos on a regular basis for all the sports, including soccer, including the NBA, including the NFL, which is obviously almost done here, but NHL, and then we got Major League Baseball coming up, but we got plenty of football slash soccer coming up, and that's my number one thing. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into this. This is the Premier League play of the day. Bournemouth going up against Nottingham Forest. All right, so here it is. We go to the Vitality Stadium there on the southern shore of Great Britain for, as mentioned previously, a matchup of two of the hottest teams in the Premier League in Bournemouth, who is on an 11-game unbeaten streak against Nottingham Palace, which is on an 8-game unbeaten streak. Now, of those 8 games unbeaten streak, they've won in 7 of them, only lost one, or excuse me, or so they wouldn't have lost if it's on beaten streak. One draw, so 7 wins and one draw. Bournemouth is coming off an impressive victory against the Magpies of Newcastle last week. They won 4-1 of a game in which Kluivert scored a hat trick, and Newcastle was the hottest team in the Premier League before that. They had won their last 9 games, which is very, very impressive. But Bournemouth came into St. James Park and beat them 4-1. So, listen, this is a Bournemouth team that's dealing with a whole slew of injuries, but it hasn't slowed them down. It's been next man up over there at Bournemouth, and I'm just very, very impressed with both of these sides. Um, don't count Bournemouth out, and that's reflected in the odds for this game. I think a lot of people would think, looking at Nottingham Forest in third place, and right now, you know, within the top four, and think, okay, plus 240 for Nottingham Forest. What's going on here? Why are the valued so low compared to this Bournemouth squad that's in seventh place? That's because Bournemouth has played so well at home, but also just because this is a team that is very, very hot. Um, but Newcastle is a team, or I keep on saying Newcastle rather than Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest is a team that I've been super, super impressed in. I just like the way this team defends, and I like the way that they attack too. They're a team that doesn't need a whole bunch of possession in order to score their goals. They just they capitalize on the opportunities that they have at their disposal. I'll tell you what, Bournemouth plays kind of similar to that. You know, um, capitalizing on the opportunities that they do have, counterattack and things of that nature. So this is a matchup of two teams that can both defend. Bournemouth has been pretty stingy in terms of conceding goals at the Vitality Stadium there. They haven't conceded all that much at home. A little bit more on the road, but at home they've been pretty solid. And of course, everyone knows about Nottingham Forest and their defense. So this is going to be a really good matchup. But I'll tell you what, I do see both of these teams just based on their previous form getting on the board and being able to rip the back of that net and at least score one goal apiece. So I do like both teams to score in this one. And just to mention about yesterday's play of the day, where we had Wolfsburg going up against Kiel, we were able to hit on the lower risk. And I'm going to be doing this going forward for most of the picks. Sometimes I may just go ahead and pick one because that's what I believe is just overall the pick that you should go with. But other times I'm going to go with the low risk and high risk. On this particular occasion for this game, I am going to go with lower risk and higher risk bets. That way you have an option. You know, the lower risk you could look at is the safe bet. So if you're going to go ahead and you really need to hit on one, then take the lower risk. That's what that's there for. It's for a bet that I think should hit, and when I say should, greater than 50%. Okay. This is betting at the end of the day. Nothing is certain. So, but I look at the lower risk as being something that should be greater than 50%. As I mentioned previously, Bournemouth is dealing with a lot of injuries. It hasn't hampered them up to this point. Um, Newcastle or Nottingham Forest, I'm going to fix that, I promise. Nottingham Forest is not dealing with as much industry injuries, but Hudson-Odoi may be out. They're gonna check that around game time. So he's kind of like a game time decision for Hudson-Odoi. So, but other than that, Forest is pretty healthy in terms of their starting 11. So they're going to be able to put their best squad out there. Bournemouth missing guys like Evan Nilsson, that's the biggest name. Their striker had been playing so well, but they've had guys like Kluivert step up. He has 10 goals in the Premier League this season, had a hat trick last week. So I like both teams to score. So looking at this game from a lower risk standpoint, let's go with both teams to score in under 5.5 goals. I don't think this is going to be something where we're seeing over 5 goals. And you could get that at minus 118 at BetMGM. Now, to look at the higher risk bet, the bet that I've actually put my money on, because that's what I like to do sometimes, get that a little bit extra odds is I like both teams to score and Newcastle. Or oh, geez, I can't believe I keep on saying Newcastle rather than Nottingham Forest. But um, let's start that over. I like Forest on the double chance, so Forest to draw plus both teams to score, and you can get that at plus 165. This bet does come with some risks because, like I said, Bournemouth is playing really well, and I wouldn't be surprised if they won this game. I just think Forest, at the end of the day, has a little bit better of the defense, and they're just a little bit of the hotter team, and they just seem galvanized as a unit and just really got their eyes on the prize and their eyes set on the goals that they're looking to achieve this season. So lower risk, both teams to score plus under 5.5 goals, minus 118 at BetMGM. Higher risk bet, take Forest or draw plus both teams to score, and that's going to be at plus 165 at BetMGM. All right, that's all I got for you folks. As always, thank you for listening in. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button, commenting down below. Let me know what you think about the picks. Again, we were 1 for 1. We hit on the pick, the lower risk pick. Again, that's the one that I think definitely should. The higher risk, that's when you're getting into the lower odds of actually hitting on it, but you're getting more bang for the buck. But 1 for 1. Or we could say, we hit on the one that really is the one that I'm predicting as the highest probability. But at any rate, not subscribe to the channel. Please consider subscribing. Comment down below. I'd love to get some um, collaboration on these videos, and then like the video and hit the notification bell. But we'll see you next time. And until then, guys, good luck.